Hari Hari Om Tats Jaya Guru. Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shivaidi Brahmeti Vedantino Bauddha Buddha iti Pramana Padava Karteti Nayyayika Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarataha Karmeti Mimamsaka Soyambo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Soyambo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udetu Satatam Samyak Ajnana Timirarunaha Harihi Harihi Om Tats Jaya Guru. We shall have, as usual, 3 times Omkara recitation in chorus. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close your eyes. Open the mouth and heart and join me. Harihi, Harihi. Let us have the recitation. Harihi, Harihi, Om Tats Jaya Guru. Sreemad Bhagavatam is an out and out spiritual composition. Though it is a spiritual composition, it's a devotional composition, it is equally a spiritual philosophical composition. As devotion is discussed there, and necessarily God also the object or subject of devotion, the text also is a very great exposition of spirituality and spiritual wisdom, and then philosophy also. So it's an amalgamation of all these factors: devotion, God, religion, and the different practices of religion, then spirituality, philosophy, and also yoga. As most of you know, or all of you know, it is a composition in which a variety of discussions and dialogues are presented. There is a lot of inquiry, philosophical and spiritual inquiry, presented in different stages. And the dialogues which Srimad Bhagavatam presents are quite significant and paramount. So far as devotion is concerned, there are a number of devotional hymns addressed to different deities on different occasions as the text progresses in its narration. The hymns of Srimad Bhagavatam themselves are a very unique collection. Devotional people will do well to go through all these devotional and spiritual and philosophical hymns to understand how they compare themselves with each other and how they altogether make a full, complete narration. In the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam itself, we get the clue as to what the text primarily seeks to convey. Janmadhyasya yataha. This is the way it commences. Actually, this is a sukta, a sutra, which you find in Brahma Sutras. I think it is the second sutra. Athato Brahma Jijnasa Janma Adi Asya Yataha. From where the creation, preservation and dissolution of this visible universe have come about. So that is the source of creation, the source of sustenance and also the source of dissolution. That is the subject discussed in Sreemad Bhaagavata. The moment you hear it, what will be your impression? It is actually a great philosophical, spiritual and scientific treatise. Then the first verse ends with the proposition which is written here. Satyam param dhimahi. We are carrying in our intelligence, because we can only intellectualize it, the supreme truth and reality conveyed in the text throughout. The truth is certainly not visible and sensible. What we sense with our senses is not true at all. Just have a look at the morning sun. You get up in the morning and you find the sun rising. It is never stationary. As you are looking on, the sun will be rising, rising, rising. Initially the motion is very, very comparable and visible. It is rising. It passes through and finally it sinks into the sea, so to say. But actually, does the sun rise? Does it course through the sky? Certainly not. But our eyes clearly indicate that the sun is rising. Are we to believe this as a fact? Certainly not. We know very well that the sun is stationary and it is earth that revolves at a great speed. Because we are not able to understand the revolution of the earth, we consider that the sun is revolving. It's a clear misunderstanding. So what the senses perceive need not necessarily be true. In fact, it is not true at all. Then what is the truth? It is beyond what the senses perceive. That beyondness of the truth is indicated by Param Satyam. The absolute truth is beyond the sensory range. It transcends the sensory range. What is the truth which transcends the senses? Everything outside the body is sensible, including the body. Now, what is not sensible or transcending the sensory range, therefore, is essentially inside the body. So the whole world is to be disposed of as unreal and non-absolute. Then what is left aside with us? Everything outside is false. It is a display. It's not a fact. It's a phenomenon, all right. Then what is the truth? The truth is within the body where the senses cannot perceive. Certainly there is a range within the body where our mind is, our intelligence is, our ego is. In fact, within our body alone, we are experiencing everything in this world. Even the body is a sight for the eyes. Just like the world is, this pandal is, the satrashala is, my body is also an object which my eyes perceive. Perception of the body is something that takes place within the body. To perceive is not the job of the body. That actual perception belongs to the perceiver. That perceiver is not the eye. The eye again is an object to it. With the help of the eye, the perception takes place. But the actual perceiver, as well as the perceiving process, takes place within the body. It is there that the supreme reality, the absolute truth is. And that truth is actually what you indicate by the term I. Everyone says, I am, I was, I shall be. What is that I which was present in the past, present now, and which will be present again in the future? We say about it, we feel about it, but we don't have a clear understanding of what this I represents. The actual truth is what the I denotes or represents, signifies. That supreme truth is something which you cannot think about even mentally. You have to carry it in your intelligence in the form of a contemplation. in the form of an inquiry. We use a word called infinity in mathematics. Infinity is a concept. Zero is also a concept. Just like we have ideas like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Infinity is also indicating a certain quantity or a measure. And zero also is representing a very, very, very minimal quantity which we are unable to understand. But nevertheless we use these terms. Can you show me zero? Can you show me what is infinity? Both are unable to be shown. But nevertheless we have an idea about both. In the same manner, you have to have an idea about the Supreme Truth, and this idea will progress and progress and progress until at last you are able to have a clear notion about what is the supreme or the ultimate reality. The whole process is an intellectual process where the intelligence alone is working. And in that level, yes, this is the Supreme Truth. I contemplate upon it. So the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, though considered to be a devotional text, right in the opening verse itself you get an idea as to what Srimad Bhagavatam discusses and reveals before you. It reveals the supreme reality, that from which the whole visible universe has come about. How every particle as well as mighty planets in the universe is sustained by it. It's a wonderful power of sustenance, and that is the place where all of them go into a state of dissolution also. And that supreme truth is to be contemplated upon by us. Srimad Bhagavata facilitates the process of understanding this truth and enabling you to contemplate upon it until you are able to realize it very, very clearly as anything else that you see in front of your eyes. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. A number of stories are there, a number of episodes and events are there. All of them are narrated. But all the things are revolving around the central concept called the Satyam Param, the supreme reality. When we describe it in terms of devotion, in terms of religion, it becomes God, it becomes the Supreme Lord, associated with a number of unimaginable qualities and powers. We call him the Supreme Lord, Parama Kalyana Nidhi. We call him the Supreme Lord, Parama Kalyana Nidhi. He is an abode of all kinds of felicity that you can imagine in this world. That Supreme Lord, that is the subject of discussion. While presenting this, the author presents before us three important factors. It is the story of three young boys. One is Shringi. Shringi is the son of Shamika Maharshi. He was living in the forest in a cottage doing tapasya, austerity, as all hermits generally are given to. The great king Parikshit went hunting on a hunting expedition. He got tired after hunting for a while. He became thirsty and he wanted to drink some water. There was no water available and he hadn't taken some quantity with him. Or whatever he had taken, he had already drunk. He found there is a hermitage nearby. Naturally there will be water for the hermit's use. So with a lot of hope and confidence he entered into Shamika's cottage. But he found Shamika Maharshi was lost in contemplation. He was squatting on his ashram and the eyes were closed, the body was straight and he was motionless. Parikshit was already overpowered by the thirst produced by the stomach. So the discrimination that the mind and the intelligence could provide him was overpowered by it. He lost his cool. Because he could not quench his thirst, he expected that I am a king. Only when we administer the kingdom very well, even the hermits and ascetics will be able to live comfortably and peacefully in their respective abodes. When I go to a cottage automatically some kind of welcome should be offered to me. That is missing. So he felt very bad. In his mood of anger, hatred and resentment, he thought, let me see whether this Maharshi, the ascetic, is really lost in his contemplation of the self or this is only an ostentation. So he went out. Always Providence plays its magic every time. So here, Providence had played the magic in such a manner that it provided a dead cobra right in front of the cottage. So he lifted it with the tip of the bow and brought it and put on the neck of Shamika Maharshi in order to ventilate his grievance as well as hatred. And he went away. Parikshit was a great king and he was really sorry after a while. When the anger cooled off, he became very repentant about what he did. Meanwhile, the news spread like a wildfire. Shamika Maharshi's son Shringi was playing somewhere. The news reached him. You can imagine, if the king was so much agitated and got angry, what should have been the extent of anger and resentment on the part of this little boy, the son of Shamika Maharshi. He got so wild. These Kshatriyas who come to the forest hunting, etc., with bow and arrow, their skill, their strength of arm, they become blinded by it. But I will show this person whether his hands are strong or the ascetic's mind is stronger. He went down the river, took a little water ceremonially on the hand, and then administered a curse. Whoever it may be that put a dead cobra on my father's neck, on the seventh day, a living cobra should come, bite him, and in the poison arising from the fire, his body should be completely charred, burnt into ashes. Everything was over in a matter of seconds. The son started running to break the news to the father. Before he reached, Shamika Maharshi had got up, came to consciousness, and he found something hanging on his neck. He coolly removed it, and the whole story was over. It did not mean anything for him. There was a dead cobra on his neck, and he removed it. After all, it was dead. So, just like any other article, he removed it. That is the time when the son came running pantingly, and he broke the news, my dear father, this is what I have done. Maybe the son expected a pat and a compliment from the father. But the father said, my dear son, you have done something grievously wrong. For such a small crime or omission, what kind of a huge punishment have you given? Now, this is the first lesson of Sreemad Bhagavata. Every one of you should understand what should everybody do when our children commit a mistake. For the children, the parents are the only source of learning. Everything they learn from the parents. When they grow up, the matter is different. So whenever they commit a mistake, that should be effectively pointed out. It is the role and duty of the father, of the mother. So the father said, what is this? We are all ascetics. You are the son of an ascetic. We believe in spirituality, the inner brilliance, the inner might, the spiritual treasure we are after. We never give vent to our emotions like this. After all, the self is beyond everything. It is transcendental. Even when irritated by others, inflicted upon in the form of a torture by others, we don't give vent to any kind of a resistance or intolerance. Remember the self. What you have done is wrong. This is the first child Srimad Bhagavata presents before us. A child committing a mistake and the father trying to correct. I am wondering whether you will react in the same manner. Vedavyasa, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, is perpetually asking all of you through reading and also hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, my dear men and women, what is going to be your reaction? How will you react? Here is the example. Shamika Maharshi spoke thus to his son, what will you do? What have you done? What are you doing? Every child should be given the enrichment of learning. The enrichment, the bounty of learning. Learning starts right from the beginning. The type of learning will have to be attuned to the age of the child, the receptivity of the child. But it's all a process of learning until our last breath. What are we supposed to learn? According to me, you have to eliminate the undesirable elements in you and incorporate or acquire the desirable elements. Whatever is undesirable, dispense with it. And whatever is desirable, acquire and strengthen it. This is the twofold process that should be constantly on throughout our life. And here is a lesson for it. We have the second child in the form of Dhruva, aged 5. He was ill-treated by the father and also the stepmother. He wanted to sit on the lap of his father, but the stepmother interfered. This lap is reserved for my son, Uttama, not for you. If you have to sit on this lap, you have to die and get born in my uterus, from my uterus. It is too much for the son to hear. And the father only coolly or helplessly heard what his second wife said. He did not do anything. And Dhruva, the little boy, ran to the mother, heavingly, pantingly, cryingly aloud. Meanwhile, the mother had already got the news. So she embraced the child, kissed him, patted him, consoled him, but said, "What your stepmother said is right, my dear son. It's a fact of this palace. In this palace, I am not respected. I am not given the respect that is due to a queen. Your father is still shy and reluctant to tell anybody that I am his wife, the queen of the palace. So how can you expect justice here? Justice can be had only by the one Lord, the Supreme Father of the whole universe. So I have to send you to the depths of Madhuvanam, the great forest, where you will be alone, and there will be no palace, no mother, no father, no stepmother, no stepbrother also for you." See, welcoming and consoling is okay, all of you mothers will do. But what about the next part of the dialogue that took place between the son and the mother? Just think about it. In this palace you cannot get justice. So I want you to go to the depths of the forest. Try to please the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu there. He will offer you the right redress and you will get a lap which will never be refused for you. Thus saying, she sends the little son, 5-year-old son, to the forest alone, with nobody to help him, guide him. The son did not think for a while at all. What the mother said, he implicitly obeyed and started running. Narada intercepted him, the sage, available everywhere for doing right. So he intercepted, "What is it that you are running?" "I am going to Madhuvanam for doing austerity." "For what?" "To praise the Supreme Lord Hari." But nonsense. So many people have tried to propitiate the Lord and they have all failed. How are you going to succeed? Forget about the whole episode. Take some soft drink and sleep off, that's all. Don't worry about it. The boy replies, "My dear sage, I am a Kshatriya. I am born in the valorous community. Don't dissuade me by words of this kind. If all people have failed, that is all the more reason I should succeed. If you have anything to tell me positively to help my mission, open your mouth. Otherwise, close your mouth and walk off," he said. Narada was immensely pleased. He patted the boy and gave him a beautiful mantra in the form of an instruction which he could use for his austerity. See what happens. Shringi, the father, was there to correct him. Dhruva, a little older, the mother was there to advise him, though the father ill-treated him. Now we go to Prahlada, the third boy, where the father himself was the enemy number one for him. He was out to destroy him, cut off his neck. He had taken the sword to cut off his neck, and the next step, his head would have fallen. At that point of time also, the little boy Prahlada did not change his loyalty, belief or dependence on the Supreme Lord. He had no difficulty in addressing the father and then tell him, where is the power? From where do you get the power to deride me in this manner? I get the power, not only I, my dear father. Lord Indra, Lord Chandra, the Dikpalas and all the others get their powers, and there is only one infinite source of power, and that is the Lord Hari. Even for you, that is the source of power, he said. The father was unable to contain it. He started heaving. His eyes became blood red. The hands and the legs were trembling. Where is your Lord Hari, whom you rely upon? He said, everywhere, my dear father. So many people are there in this assembly. He was only 7 years old. 70-year-old people are not able to say this. But he said it, my Lord is everywhere. Is he in the pillar? He said, yes, he is. This is what Bhagavata tells you. Devotion to the Lord does not depend upon your age and experience. It depends upon the innocence of your heart, the yearning that you are able to have, the pang of separation you feel from the Supreme Inner Lord. It depends upon no other factor. When he said it is also in the pillar, until then it was a dialogue between the son and the father. Son and the father. When he made this statement, the entire import of what he said changed over to the Supreme Invisible Lord. And it was for the Lord to substantiate his statement and protect him if he wanted. It's all a question of whether such a lordly presence is or is not. The boy says he is, and he is there in the pillar. So Srimad Bhagavata puts it in a very nice manner, my dear souls. Satyam vidhadum nijabhritya bhashidam vyaptim cha bhuteshva akhileshu chatmanah. Satyam vidhadum nijabhritya bhashidam. Can you repeat what I say? Satyam vidhadum. Push. I thought the English listening people would be better, but you are worse. Satyam vidhadum nijabhritya bhashidam. Nijabhritya bhashidam vyaptim cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmanah. The little child who believes completely in me, who depends upon me, he has spoken a word that my Lord Hari is present everywhere and he is also in the pillar. So the Lord decided, I should substantiate his statement. And I should also prove that I am present everywhere in the world. The adjectives and qualifications he has pronounced are about me, not about him. So it is for me to prove it. So to make his statement true, substantiate it, as also to prove that I am present everywhere. Adrishyata atyadbhuta roopa mudvahan stambhe sabhayam na mrigam na manusham. Suddenly he was seen. An altogether new form, never seen or heard, na mrigam na manusham, that Nara Simha form, partly a human and partly a lion. Atyadbhuta roopa mudvahan, a fierce, a wonderful, but very fierce, stunningly fierce form emerged from the pillar. Just imagine, Shringi, the father was there with loving words to correct him. Dhruva had the loving mother to advise and guide him, and Prahlada had none for him, the only father by his side all along, who was out to crush him to pieces. These are the three children he presents before us. though it is a story of the little ones, the people who hear this narration are not young at all. All of them are old. Whether the words come through the little ones or the youthful ones or the old ones, it does not matter. It's only a variety. It is a hue, a color, which makes the narration more and more interesting, more and more scintillating. But we are to understand the message. But here, in the third skandha, the same author presents a child called Kapila, the fourth child. He was born to Devahudi and Kardama Prajapati, and he was born as a result of the prayer done by Devahudi, the mother, to her own husband, saying, I know, my dear Lord, that you are an ascetic person. You are not supposed to be a householder. I have been living and moving with you, not knowing your true greatness. Nevertheless, my association has been with a great person, so it must have only a great effect. I may have been ignorant. That does not in any way eclipse your personality. So all the girls should be married, and I shall also have a son who should instruct me on the path of self-knowledge and realization. You will go, I know, but even when you go, I should not lack your company, the benefit of a spiritual instruction from you. Make sure that a child you give to me who will advise me properly in the spiritual and philosophical path. Kapila was born like that. Kardama very well knew that the child was a divine descent, so to say. So he grew up, and one day, the father goes to him, addresses him in all praises of divinity. And the child says, I accept your submission and I allow you to go for your austerity. I shall instruct my mother. That responsibility is with me, go. So the child blesses and directs and guides the father. So the father went away from the house in all consolation, in all confidence, belief that everything will go all right. And this Kapila is talking to the mother, imparting spiritual instruction. I was discussing it for 2 or 3 days here. The remaining part of the discussion, it will not be complete. I thought I will continue in English. Avyaktat vyaktayas sarvaha prabhavantya haragame ratriagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta samjnage aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma avasthitas sada tam avajñāya māṁ martyah kurude archa vidambanam. As Sri Krishna is talking in Bhagavad Gita, on some occasions Sri Rama spoke to Lakshmana and the others. This Kapila is talking, representing himself as the supreme reality, the supreme Lord. This is a level of realization that seekers and knowledge people have. The difference between themselves and the Lord, the supreme reality, will completely have dissolved in their mind. And they can speak as if they are the supreme reality. My dear souls, this is also a fact. Whenever you see something, will you be with me when I say? When you see something, how do you see it? I am seeing. This is my experience, my realization. So every experience is related to you. That I-ness is the proof for any experience, any knowledge, any insight. When you realize God, the same I is the proof for you. I am realizing, I understand. I is the proof for it. And here the realization is about the I itself. A man realizes what the I represents. What does the I represent? The supreme reality it represents. That is the only changeless element or factor in the whole of creation. The entire creation consists of Panchabhutas. The earth is changing, water is changing, air is changing, fire is changing. The space also is undergoing changes. The only changeless presence in the whole creation is the I in the human. We started saying I when we were young. Even when you are 70, 80, 90 years old, you still continue to say I. What is this I? It is not the body, it is not the mind, nor is it the intelligence, nor is it the ego. About all these you refer to as mine, my body, my mind, my intelligence, my ego, my experience, my happiness, my unhappiness, my ignorance, my knowledge. Everything seems to be mine, and the I is different. Spiritual experience is actually the experience of this wonderful, eternal, changeless I. And Lord or God is only a synonym, a paryaya shabda of this I. So a man of self-realization will always talk taking the position of the Lord, the I. Very rarely you find people belonging to this level. So he says, Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma avasthitas sada tam avajñāya mam martyaha kurude archa vidambanam. Are you with me when I say this? Huh? Nobody speaks. Yes or no? Yes. Achha. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma avasthitas sada. My dear mother, the I in me is present in all beings alike. Sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma avasthitas sada. I am the Atma of all Bhutas, always. As I am present in my body, I am present in your body, in everybody's body. That is why everybody says I. So you tell me, is the I present only in you or the others also? Because everybody says I. So the existence of the I is not limited to one. It is present everywhere in all living bodies. Tam avajñāya mam martyaha. This truth about the I being present in all alike, not knowing that, kurude archa vidambanam. People are indulging in worship of archa, idols. What do they do? Rock, a part of the mountain. They split the rock, take a piece. The sculptor steps on it. He uses the chisel, hammers, removes piece by piece from the sculpture, from the rock, and finally he makes a form. He delivers to you and takes his wages for the purpose. And our so-called priests, using their own mental and intellectual powers, chant mantras, show so many gesticulations, and by administering several processes, they make the inert stone a living idol. Tell me whether it's a fact or not. Huh? Is it a fact? No answer. Then I will stop. It is after all a piece of stone. That piece of stone is idolized by man. The divinity is imparted into it by the installing priests. And they have only their own body, their own mind, their own intelligence, their own soul. It is from their own soul that they generate the divinity, so to say, and impart it to the stone, calling it consecration. So who is the maker of the idol? The human, his mind and intelligence. And what is the power and presence behind it? The I. The presence of the soul in the priest. Not knowing the majesty and magnificence of this I in themselves, they start calling the idol God, the stone God. Kurude archa vidambanam. And all that they want to do with God, they do with this idol, which is no other than stone. This is an ostentation, a useless exercise. Where is the reality? The reality is inside you, inside the worshipper, the I in you, the same I in everyone. Try to understand it directly. It is already a presence within you. Not debatable, not disputable, not doubtable. The presence is there already. Turn your eyes within, turn your attention within, contemplate upon it, try to discover it, identify it, uncover, get rid of the ignorance and delusion that you suffer from, and get hold of it and realize the truth. Those people, tam avajñāya mam martyaha, not understanding the greatness, the glory, and the all-pervading nature of the I, the self, kurude archa vidambanam. They indulge in this archa vidambanam, idol worship, idol worship. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santamatmanamishwaram hitva archam bhajade maudhyat bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santamatmanamishwaram. Whoever is not able to understand the Lord, where is the Lord? Atmanam sarveshu bhuteshu santam. The Lord is the Atma, the soul, present in all creatures, all living beings. Santam, always, always. That presence which is always there, in you as well as in the others. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santam atmanamishwaram hitva. Rejecting that Lord, missing that Lord, not taking notice of this wonderful, eternal presence, unflinching presence, unaffected presence, constant presence, which is revealed constantly by you in the form of the I. Forgetting it, bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. All their worship is like pouring ceremonial ghee into a heap of ashes. I don't know whether you are hearing me. Are you hearing me? The entire process of worshipping of an idol, is like pouring ceremonial ghee with celebrated Vedic mantras into a heap of ash. Bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santamatmanamishwaram hitvarcham bhajade maudhyad bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. The author of Sreemad Bhagavatam makes it sure that this is an exchange that takes place between the loving child, the loving son Kapila, and his own beloved mother. So there is nothing chaffy there. Nothing can be rejected. The mother wants instruction for liberation, for knowledge, spiritual wisdom. That knowledge is imparted lovingly by the son whom she gave birth to, and the mother is listening to him. If the mother is receiving the spiritual instruction from her beloved son, how can you think of refusing it, doubting it, getting distance from it? Is it ever possible? It can never be possible. So much of belovedness is there. The son undertook the task of enlightening the mother, and he sent away the father peacefully and confidently to the forest for pursuing his own austere life and attaining supreme felicity. And this boy is talking to the mother. So there is nothing to be rejected there, my dear souls, and no degree of doubt also is applicable. Dvishataha parakaye mam manino bhinnadarshinaha bhuteshu baddhavairasya namanaha shanti mritchadi. How can people have shanti in this world? Shanti is a corollary of the mind of man. Shanti is not a condition, a quality, or an acquisition of the body. Body has hunger and thirst, appeasement of both. Shanti is a requirement of the mind. Mind is not part of the body. Mind is above the ken of matter and energy. It is altogether different. It is not material at all. It is a spiritual factor. And that spiritual factor, namely mind, requires shanti. How can it be had by the body or bodily exercises? Dvishadaha parakaye mam manino bhinnadarshinaha. In all your interactions with the others, what are the interactions like? You doubt people, you scold people, you blame people, you inflict tortures on the others, speak ill of others. You may speak ill of others, but who is becoming ill in the process? You did not understand my question? You are scolding another person. Another person is an object of your scolding. Tell me who is scolding? You are scolding. It is your act to scold. So who is benefited or hurt by it? When you speak ill of others, who is speaking? You are speaking. And you speak ill of others, naturally the ill effect will be in you. Then still why are you blaming others? It is your ignorance, sheer ignorance. You don't know. I am speaking ill of him, but I am speaking. When I drink water, my stomach becomes full. When I speak mouthful of ill, what will be the effect on my mind? The other man may be roaming about comfortably and happily. I am spoiling myself. He is not affected in the process because I am the culprit. I am the blaming person. Dvishataha paragaye mam manino bhinna darshinaha. When you blame another person who is living in that body, you are not blaming the body, but you are blaming the living presence. That presence is the soul, and that soul is the same as yours. So when you blame others, you are actually blaming yourself. Not knowing this truth, you are indulging in blame, in scandal, and in so many other things negative in life. Bhuteshu baddhavairasya na manaha shanti mrchadi. Instead of developing love and fellow feeling towards the others, which when you have, will fill your heart with peace, contentment and ecstasy, you are filling the mind with useless, nonsensical affairs. Bhuteshu baddhavairasya. There are people who say, he spoke something 10 years back and I am keeping it in my heart. Only when I am burnt in mango wood, I will be all right. He has spoken 10 years back. He has forgotten it. Why should you remember it? Don't you have other things to remember? Is our mind to constantly indulge in one word exchanged many years back? Why don't you develop liberality? Why don't you develop a kind of a belovedness towards everybody? Bhuteshu baddhavairasya na manaha shanti mrchadi. The mind that is given to hatred, intolerance, displeasure. How can it have peace at all, my dear mother? Ahamucchavajair dravyaihi kriyayotpannaya naghe naivatushye architorchayam bhutagramavamaninaha. Ahamucchavajair dravyaihi kriyaya utpannaya naghe naivatushye archito archayam bhutagramavamaninaha. Are you with me when I say this? Aham uchchavajair dravyaihi. I, the soul, representing the Supreme Lord. Kapila tells his mother, uchchavajair dravyaihi kriyaya utpannaya anaghe. Huge ceremonies, reciting and employing Vedic sanctifying mantras, celebrated mantras, collecting very, very costly and regal jumbo materials for the purpose. There are yagas where very costly materials are used. I can perform a yaga here if you want. And in that yaga, I will ask for such materials that you will find. Even the richest man will become poor. So many the fire can take. So by bringing any costly, rare materials, which have very high price for them, such materials or ceremonial details, sanctifying mantras, kriyaya utpannaya naghe, O sinless mother, naivatushye, I am not going to be pleased with any one of them. Archido archayam, in the idol in any manner you worship, with any costly materials you offer and worship, even then I am not going to be contented. Bhutagramavamaninaha. If you are given to disrespecting others, ridiculing others, harming, hurting others, if the least tendency of hurting others in you is there, with any kind of a ceremonial sublimity, I am not going to be pleased at all. See what Srimad Bhagavatam means. The Vedas are considered to be sacred, and people attach a lot of importance and value to the Vedas. But here this little boy, Kapila, in a conversation, loving conversation with his mother, he says, he denounces everything. What I, the Supreme Lord, look for is the humaneness in human being. They should be humble, loving, amiable, helpful, considerate, compassionate. They should always be sacrificing, taking interest in the others. Find out what little you can do to make another's life comfortable and happy. When others are in need, try to help. This is what we want. We want that behavioral nicety, that characteral elegance. We want that interactional sublimity and refinement. I generally use 3 phases: characteral elegance, behavioral majesty, and interactional excellence. This is what we want, nothing else. Ahamucchavajair dravyaihi kriyayotpannaya naghe naivatushye architorchayam bhutagramavamaninaha archada varchayet tavad ishwaram mam swakarma kriti yavanna veda swakriti sarvabhuteshu avasthidam. Shall I get up and talk? Huh? Because I want you to understand this. This is Srimad Bhagavatam speaking, my dear souls. And it is a loving child who talks to a loving mother. And the mother is resigned to hear the instruction from the son, and she is going to act upon it. The child goes away after the instruction. The mother also goes away. Both of them plunge in austerities. The husband has already gone. The son is going to leave. This is the effect of conversation. Understand it. Our mouth, our tongue, our heart, our intelligence, our brain, our head. You cannot measure the grace and grandeur these have. Archada varchayet tavad ishwaram mam swakarma kriti yavanna veda swakriti sarva bhuteshu avasthidam. This ostentation of idol worship, picture worship, in a puja room there will be 92 pictures. All of one God. Put one flower here, one flower here, one flower. So many flowers you pluck, that's all. Otherwise they will remain in their own position very beautifully. You come to our ashram, you will find beautiful smiling flowers in many places. Ma Gurupriya was very particular. Now she is not able to do as much as she was doing. Everywhere. We will take the minimum flowers for puja. Not all. Let them remain there. God smiling, blossoming, beautiful. Look at them and feel the presence of God. Not pluck them. Put. Yeah. What is this? Archada varchayet tavad. One need to continue this Archa Puja, Vigraha Puja, Ishwaram Mam Swakarma Kriti. Whom are they worshipping? Ishwara, the Supreme Lord. Where is that Supreme Lord? Is it in the idol? He is in the idol as much as he is everywhere. So you tell me, is he more in the idol or minimum in the idol? Is he more in the idol or minimum in the idol? No answer. I think I will continue to talk in Malayalam. Because my Malayalam audience will reply me with a lot of enthusiasm and confidence. You English-loving people are useless. See, you take the whole temple. How much place is occupied by the idol? This much. The whole temple is there. Taking the whole temple into account, the Lord who is present everywhere, is he more present in the idol or more present in all other places? That is what I am asking you. Archada varchayet Ishwaram mam swakarmakrit. You are worshipping the idol, not the stone. God who is represented by the idol. And that God is present in all places. A God who is present in all places. How dare you choose to worship Him only in the idol? Is not God here, 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 here? While you are passing into the compound of the temple, is He not present here? Everywhere He is present, but you miss everywhere. And you only feel, is there any greater fool than you are? Just see. Archada varchayet tavad Ishwaram mam swakarmakrit. So what you should do is, you should spend your life, lead your life in a human manner, in an intelligent manner, in a rational manner, in a loving and considerate and sympathetic manner. Have that human element in you as much as possible. Yavanna veda swahridi sarvabhudeshu avastidam. This idol worship need be followed only until then. Until when? Yavanna veda swahridi. That the real place where I have to seek the Supreme Lord is in my own heart. Is in my own heart. Where He is present and He produces the heat of the body, the breath of the body, the blood circulation of the body, the digestive process in the body. He is functionally present here. In the idol He does no function at all. I have to worship and remove the flowers tomorrow myself. But He is present in me, causing all these functions. Sarvabhudeshu avastidam. As He is present in me, a Bhuda, He is present in all Bhudas, all beings in this world. Archada varchayet tavad Ishwaram mam swakarmakrit yavanna veda swahridi sarvabhudeshu avastidam atmanascha parasyavi yah karotyantarodaram tasya bhinnadrisho mrityuhu vidadhe bhayamulbanam. Atmanascha parasyavi yah karotyantarodaram. Atmanascha parasyavi. Anybody who brings out the least difference between oneself and the others, in so far as the presence in the body is concerned. If you bring about the least difference, yah karoti antarodaram tasya bhinnadrisho mrityuhu. When you perceive the least difference between the presence in you and the presence in the others, the least difference, tasya bhinnadrisho mrityuhu, that differential outlook and notion causes mrityu, death for you. Vidadhe bhayamulbanam. I put them to this greatly fearful death. Actually, we have no death. We have had no birth also. About death you may not know. But you tell me, is there anybody in this assembly? Anybody in this assembly who can say, I was born? Tell me. Please get up. Anybody here who can say, Swamiji, I was born? I do agree that your body was born, but you never knew about it. You knew about yourself as already present. One day your mother told you that I am your mother and you are born of me. This is your father from whom you are born. It is the mother's statement that we have. We have never experienced our birth. Similarly, you tell me one person who will say, I am dead, I have died. Birth and death are misnomers. They are never a fact. Never a fact. It is not our experience. Between birth and death, every time we ask for experience and we want to experience. Atmanascha parasyavi ekkaroti antarodaram tasya bhinnadrisho mrityuhu vidadhe bhayamulbanam. I cause great and huge fear to the people the moment they start seeing differences between themselves and the others. This differential outlook, differential vision is the cause of death. and the fear arising from death. My dear souls, none of you is going to die. None of you is going to die. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam arhayed danamana abhyam maitriya bhinnena chakshusha. Maitriya bhinnena chakshusha. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam arhayed danamana abhyam maitriya bhinnena chakshusha. Therefore, what should be the right way of worship? Replace all kinds of idol and puja worship. I don't want you to throw away your pictures today after going home. I don't want it. But understand this. Let the other results and outcome come. We are not in a hurry. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam. Understand the worship of Lord is the worship of the presence in all bodies alike. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam. It is God who has taken shelter or abode in every body. Arhayed danamanabhyam. Understanding this, dana and mana, give enough. Whatever you have, a liberal portion of whatever you have, give to the others. Asking them, please come and receive what I give and make use of it, and I shall be pleased and happy. Learn to share your belongings with the others. All your ego, all your mamata is focused in whatever you have. The money you have, the property you have, the conveniences you have. Your mindness is focused on them. Take part of it, and give to the others, and delight and rejoice in the process of giving. Given. Be joyous about it. Then mana, give respect to the others, regard to the others. Never blame others. Learn wherever qualities are there. Even a mustard measure of a quality should make you feel a mountain measure of quality in him, you say. Tell everybody, here is a man who has a great quality. Beat your drums and speak. Not that, come, he is useless. I saw him do. No, this is not the way. The way is to liberalize yourself. Athamam sarva bhuteshu bhutatmanam kritalayam arhayed danamana abhyam maitriya bhinnena chakshusha. You must have the blessedness of the uniform vision. The bodily outlook is differential. The soul outlook is uniform. It is non-dual. So have the soul outlook. Jiva shreshta hya jivanam tadah pranabhrita shubhe tadah sajittaha pravaraha tadascha indriya vrittayaha. Then Sreemad Bhaagavata makes a list of creatures, giving you the relative importance and manifestation in them. All the living beings are said to be better than the non-living items in this world. Tataha pranabhritaha shubhe, tataha sachittaha pravaraha. And in all the living beings, those who are visibly breathing, those breathing creatures are still better. And still better are tataha sachittaha pravaraha, where the mind factor is there. Memory, thinking, emotion, etc. So the mindful elements, beings are still better. Tatascha indriya vrittayaha. Still better and superior are those which have got sensory activities. Tatra visparshavedibhyaha pravaraha rasavedinaha. In the sensory activities also, sparshavedibhyaha, those people who are given to the sense of touch is superior. More superior are rasavedinaha, who can enjoy the taste. Tebhyo gandhavidashreshtaha. Still superior are those who can experience the smell. Tataha shabdavido varaha. Who can listen to the sound and understand, they are still superior. Rupa bheda vidastatra. Those who can see color and shape and understand the different forms, compare and contrast them, the eye organ, they are still better. Tatascha ubhayato dataha. Even superior to them are creatures, beings who have the upper and the lower jaws, both teeth. See the cows, they have only the lower. What about the horse? Both are there. What about the humans? We have both. Tatasya ubhayato dadaha tesham bahupada shreshtaha chadushpadaha tadodvipad. Amongst all of them, creatures with many feet are better still. Chadushpadaha tadodvipad. Better than the many-legged creatures are the four-legged beings. Tatodvipad. Better than the four-legged beings are the two-legged ones. Are you following me? Huh? Tado varnascha chatvaraha tesham brahmana uttamaha. Then we come to four different groups of tendencies in the humans, varnas. Tesham brahmana uttamaha. Of all the four, the brahmana type is the uttama. Brahmaneshvapi vedajnaha. Hyarthajnaha abhi adhigasvataha. Amongst the Vedas also, those people who have learned the Vedas and utter them with all discipline in pronunciation, they are better. Still better are those who understand the meaning and purpose of the Vedas. Arthajnad samshayacheta. More than those who know the meaning of the Vedas are those experts who have no doubt about them and who can clear the doubts and delusions of the others. Tatashreyan swakarmagrid. Still better and superior are those who are fulfilling their duty consciously in the world. Mukta sangaha tado bhuyan. Those people who have overcome the sangha, the delusional clinging in their life, they are still better. Adogdha dharmamatmanaha. Still superior are those who are able to perform their duty in this world, but without looking for any gain whatsoever. Any gain whatsoever. Just imagine, no desire. Still doing everything properly in time with attention. The doctor treats a person for money. The school teacher teaches for the salary and the provident fund and pension. If you can take up teaching with no compensation whatsoever, that is the still best. We are all supposed to do it, and I believe we are doing it, at least some of us. Adogdha dharmamatmanaha tasman mayi arpida shesha kriyartha atma nirantaraha. Still better are those people who do all their activities only for the pleasure and delight of the Supreme Lord, the Self. Mayi arpida atmanah pupso mayi sanyasta karmanah. Still superior are those. Are you following me? Are those who abandon, who do sannyasa of all their karmas. They leave their blood and matrimonial relations if they have anything, and they simply become God's men, God's women, and then carry on. Na pashyami param bhutam agartuhu samadarsanad. Still superior are those who have no sense of feeling like I am doing, I am a doer, I am a karta, I am a bhokta. Manasaidani bhutani pranamed bahumanayan Ishvaro jivakalaya pravishto bhagavaniti. Manasaitani bhutani pranamed bahumanayan. And therefore, what should one do, my dear mother? I shall be going away. I am giving you final instruction. Manasa edani bhutani pranamed bahumanayan. Mentally you worship, you prostrate before all beings in this world respect them, adore them, as you will adore God. God is biologically present in all beings, in all creatures, in everything. Ishvaro jivakalaya pravishto bhagavanivi. He has entered every being by his jivakala. Pravishto bhagavanidhi. And therefore, the I in everybody is actually God, God and God alone. Thinking in this manner, you worship them. The child tells the mother, the son instructs the mother. You cannot refuse it. It's a conversation between a dear mother and a beloved son. Where can you doubt it? And with so much of testimony, his own experience, he speaks with authority, so to say. I shall stop now. Samvedya varjidamanuttamameghamadyam samvitpadam vigalanam kalayan mahatman hridyeva tishtha kalanarahitah kriyam tu kurvan akartrapadamedya Shamodidashri kurvan agartrapadamedya Shamodidashri. Hari, Hari, Hari. Let us have the conclusional Omkara where all of us together will recite Omkara once. Take your pose for it. Hari Om Tats Jai Guru.